Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's meditation session. It's a pleasure to sit here with you together to explore the mind, to understand the mind a little more. Each week on Monday, we have this session dedicated to the understanding of the self, to the understanding of the life, the mind. Everything is about mind, isn't it? The whole society is running by mind, by the consciousness of the human beings. Though this session is weekly, the understanding, the learning about yourself is a lifetime, is it? To live in such a careless society, to live in such a violent society, no matter how peaceful it looks, you know the violence in many ways, right? What is the biggest issue for the human beings? Have you ever considered it? Some people may say, oh, it can be the climate issue. Some people say it is maybe the pollution. Someone might say, maybe it's the overpopulation. But if we sit here quiet, the mind, you will find that the biggest issue is the issue of the consciousness. The issue of consciousness. The issue of the consciousness. I repeat 3 times. The way the society is constructed and the way the society is being run is totally operated. It is totally operated within the consciousness, is it? Look at all kinds of issues we are going through. Isn't it the consequence of the consciousness? A consciousness where all kinds of chaos happen, all kinds of challenges abound. The consciousness has nothing to do with awareness. It's totally random. It's totally chaotic. It seems that people are living in this society, but everyone is super isolated, is it? This all due to the issue of the consciousness. To understand and capture this issue deeply, we need to observe the mind. Not your mind, not my mind. Observe the mind. That's why we meditate, right? We meditate not to solve all kinds of petty issues. It seems that everybody is bothered by all kinds of petty issues in the life. But aren't these petty issues the consequence of the greater issues, the greater confusion, the greater problems of the mind, the consciousness? we meditate to understand the mind, to solve the great issues. In the greater, the lesser is. In the lesser, the greater is not. If we are all trapped in the time to solve all kinds of pet issues which pop up every day, right? We don't have time. Empty your consciousness. And after that, let's come back to this space for the next and deeper exploration of the mind. Do we really stay connected with the present or not? Being present has become a cliche, platitude, because we have talked about that too much, way too much. There are so many books talking about that as well, about being present. But how? And what is being present? Can we go beyond that word, present, to understand what does that mean? Are we really connected with present or not? When we are conditioned by culture, language, all kinds of ideologies, all kinds of mental images, nationality, all kinds of tendencies, prepositions. We are isolated. Are we? We are not connected, or we are just simply disconnected with the present. Are we aware that we are conditioned in many sort of forms? When we say we are conditioned, it means that the neuron paths running through the head is from somewhere, under some influence, under some indoctrination. And we identify with them. If one is conditioned by a lot of things, like I have a good family, wonderful children, a lot of money, and everything around him or her is wonderful, he or she won't find this condition at all. It's so comfortable. Who care about the conditioning, right? But as long as there's some disturbance in the life, his or her lover disappears, love other people, the money is gone. And only in this situation, one began to notice that one is conditioned. So we can see the challenges, the disturbance opens a door to the awareness of the conditioning, is it? with all those disturbances, how can one think inward to look at this, to realize, to feel deeply one's conditioning and the danger of those conditionings to one's life? Look at the people across this planet, right? Everyone is conditioned in different things. What's the consequence of it? Hurt, right? All kinds of hurt. From where? From the conflicts, right? These conflicts can be external, between two countries. It can be internal, from the mind. The conditioning means conflicts to some extent. And conditioning comes from thought, right? Just look at the things we are conditioned by. Culture, language, ideologies, whatever. They are all about thoughts, right? The labels, the mental images. They are all thoughts. Thoughts inevitably breed chaos, conflicts. But look at the mankind of this planet. Look at what they are doing, right? In each countries, in different country, different culture. They want to try to cultivate order from those conditionings, from those thoughts. Just like we mentioned the example, when one have a perfect family around him, when one is lucky enough to have such a very perfect harmony around him or her, he or she feels comfortable, and it is not necessary for one to realize the conditioning, but it needs a lot of luck, right? The chance of having that is so tiny, is it? Because he's not living alone. He's living in a society. In these dynamics, like one's wife or husband turn away from one, like the money is gone. But to have such a sin has become a common illusion for many people, right? Try to be secure in this way. And this mental image has become the motivation of many people to strive. And they want to bring order within thoughts, within the conditioning. But look at the past centuries up to now. No. There's no success at all, is it? But look at the whole world. People still desire to bring order in thoughts. Look at the politics, all kinds of chatterings, chaos. I don't find any order from it. What I can feel is only disorder. Probably you also feel the same, do you? Does this world stay connected with present or not? To me personally, it seems that this world has gone too far from the present. All kinds of thoughts, amazing thoughts, even can make people go to the moon, the plan to move to Mars. Even the people who designed the machine or orbit, whatever, that going to the moon, couldn't handle the issue of being turned against by his or her lover. It seems that all this kind of thoughts has become the escape by which we can avoid the present. Why? Because the facts are only in present. The truth is only at present. To bring the order in thoughts, each of us builds a wall around us, around each person, with a center, which is called the self, in the hope that we can create a castle, a personal castle, where we can stay comfortable. So there are billions of castles on this planet. But each castle has a mental picture of being peace. But shall we look at the fact? What's going on in each castle? No matter how hard we try to color the castle from outside to give a beautiful facade, to disguise, it seems that there's always something which is difficult to face, which is the all kinds of chaos is running through at present. Look at this illusion, right? To have thoughts. And hopefully to find order in thoughts. To worship thoughts at altar in many different ways, right? So if we are living in thoughts, which means that we are trapped in thoughts. Trapped in the reactions of the thoughts. All kinds of emotions, all kinds of self-defense activities, all kinds of self-consciousness activities. That's probably the greatest oscillation that has ever happened on this planet. It's purely oscillated by thoughts. Though we are still using WhatsApps every day, talking to different people, but we know that everything is oscillated. Not by the virus. It's only a pretext. But by what? By the self, right? By the ego, by the self. To live peacefully in this Patic castle, what we do is merely to distort the mind further and further in the hope of bringing some temporary peace. And this kind of behavior or deed, whatever, consists of the diversity on this planet. Well, we can say it's the diversity of the mind, but probably it's more proper to say it's a diversity of the distortion of the mind. There's a center called the self. Around that center, all kinds of distortion happens. The self wants to finish with the all kinds of mental challenges. So the self distorts the mind to solve one issue. Then there's another issue pop up. And to fix it. This process only means more and more distortion of the mind. I think now it's time for us to have a break. Let's to meditate together. To quieten the mind first. Let's keep this awareness all the time. When I speak, I have to have this awareness to not let myself be dragged into the thoughts. And for you guys, the same, right? Have the same awareness to listen to your mind, go beyond the verse, not get caught up in verse. And only then there's a grid between us. When we're all aware of these problems of thoughts, which can happen during this verbal communication, right? So anyway, let's meditate, following the guide to quieten the mind first. Then let's come back again to continue the next part. Now, let's take a 10-minute meditation. Start by taking a moment to find a comfortable position to sit in a posture that you feel relaxed and get alert. Let hands rest on your knees or laps. Let the eyes close gently. Soften your forehead. Act a soft smile in the corner of your lips. Breathe naturally. As you breathe in, be aware that you are breathing in. Feel the sensation of breathing in. The region can be the nostrils, can be the belly, can be anywhere. Focus on the part you feel most. As you breathe out, be aware that you are breathing out. Feel the sensation of breathing out. The region can be the nostrils, can be the belly, can be anywhere. Focus on the part you feel most. Fix your attention on the breath. Of any thought, words, images. This moment, nothing is more important than breath. While you are listening to the bell, check where your attention is. If it wasn't on the breath, after the bell, gently invite your attention back to the breath and sustain your attention on the breath. Slowly, bring your awareness back to this room. Feel into your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. When you are ready, open your eyes. The world is the mind. The mind is the world, right? When the mind is chaotic, losing the clarity, the world is lost, is it? No matter how big think we are, we think we can think big in many ways, right? But it's still within the mind. A tiny place, which is easy to be chaotic, turbulent, easy to be lost, confused. To have peace, not the peace created by thoughts, and to live peacefully on this planet, requiring a huge amount of intelligence. To keep the mind free. Freedom is the key, right? The mind is free, not a concept of the freedom promised by all kinds of politicians, which you know is a pure nonsense. I mean, the mind is free. The freedom is the first step to let us to observe the mind. Also, the freedom is the last step. By observing the mind, we are free. To stay connected with present, what shall we do? Can we see the danger of all kinds of conditionings? Can we see the danger of being trapped in all kinds of thoughts, which leads to all kinds of illusions? Can we see the danger of it like seeing a python, seeing a tiger in front of you? If you just regard what we have explored as merely as an intelligent idea, thought, it's a good idea to not have thoughts. It's a good idea to stay present. Then we are still living in thoughts, right? We still haven't seen the danger of this. The danger instantly, like seeing a tiger, seeing the house is on fire. When your house is on fire, you don't need to think, I need to comb my hair first. I need to think about something else. You don't think anything. You just take actions. If we can see danger of the thoughts in this way, can we not have the energy of doing something? Take actions. To meditate, we can say, is to be touched by this. Not play with it like an idea, but just feel it deeply. The agency of take actions. Because seeing is acting. Is it? Seeing is acting. Only thoughts creates the separation between seeing and acting. Seeing becomes rumination, and action becomes reaction. When there's a wall between the two, which is the thought. When there's no thoughts involved, when we are not trapped by thoughts, the seeing of this truth itself is the acting, because you have to take some actions, like the house is on fire. You can't wait, else everything will be burned out. Can we feel this urgency deeply? So when we really feel the urgency of this, the danger rate, the thoughts, all kinds of illusions, what we do is doing it immediately. No time involved. There's no time at the present, right? We do it immediately. That's to say goodbye to the past. When we really say goodbye to the past, all kinds of conditionings disappear naturally, without any efforts, without any striving. The very action which takes place now to say goodbye to the past is a way to reconnect us with the present, is it? So, to meditate is to have this urgency. The urgency only comes from the understanding of the nature of mind. Understand the truth of the mind, which is not the accumulated knowledge at all, which is the process of learning which takes place at each moment. We have to observe the mind now with a fresh eye to look at it. To have this awareness at each minute, to let us not register with thoughts, to see the danger of the thoughts accumulated for even 1 minute, to see how destructive it is to the mind, to the peace, to this life. If you can see the danger of it in this way, feel the emergency. Nobody teach you, and you will understand how to meditate. This, among all the kind of issues we have talked about by the human beings, there's nothing else more urgent than tackling the conscious issue, tackling the mindless state of the human beings. The very way for us now to have gone through this journey, to look at all this, is already a marvelous meditation. And I really appreciate that everyone has this courage to face this now. I really appreciate your honesty to say this non-judgmentally, peacefully. The mind is becoming silent because we know the danger of thoughts. So the mind stops chattering. Right? We begin to ridicule at all kinds of little issues. Triggered by the self. How small it is. When life is not trapped by thoughts, it's a life. It's an awesome life. It's a life full of awe, right? That very sense of awe from life has to be felt deeply. Great. That's the content for today's session. We talked about staying connected with the present. We explored the conditioning. And I don't expect any questions from you guys, but if you want to ask something or want to suggest something, you can just type on the live chat. I really appreciate that we could go through this together tonight. To feel it, to deeply understand this part a little more. And at the end of the session, again, thank you for being here tonight to spend the last wonderful hour together. And I wish everybody to have a good day, to have a peaceful moment. And to have the awareness at each moment. And also thank you for Victor Garcia, Joyce, Bob, speaking in the live chat. And I wish all of us peace and joy all the time. Again, hopefully we can see each other in the future sessions. And have a good day. Enjoy the clear and cool summer. Take care. See you in the future.